Gorgeous ones, how are we? It's cold, it's wet in Melbourne, it is miserable. And I had set myself all up to be working from home in my hoodie and my pajama pants, and I was quite looking forward to that. And then I checked my calendar and saw that I've actually got a dermatology appointment. And here's the thing, right? I don't want to go. It's cold, it's wet. I just want to stay home in my pajamas and do my work from home. But sometimes you've got to do stuff you don't want to do. And this is part of, really committing to some sort of health and weight loss journey, is that there are times where you have to do stuff you don't want to do. Now, sometimes we can do internal motivation for that. So we can sometimes really just talk to ourselves about it. And other times our brain gives us what we call the reasonable stories and lets us off the hook. So, good morning, Michelle. So one of the things to think about is that if there is something that you want to do and you just can't get yourself to do it, then getting an external accountability process can be helpful. Good morning, Karen. So, as an example, the dermatologist, I'm going because I've made the appointment, and if I don't turn up, I'll have to pay anyway. So that's a fairly good motivator for me, because if I didn't have to go, so let's just say it was some sort of, self-scanning device that I had to go to, I could easily talk myself out of that and say, you know what, I'm going to go tomorrow when it's not so wet, and the risk of me slipping over on the wet concrete isn't so much, blah, blah, blah. But because I've got an appointment with another doctor who has, dedicated time in his calendar to see me, I'm going to go. So if you want to do something like, say you want to start walking and you keep talking yourself out of it, then get yourself an accountability person. Good morning, Nikki, to help you. And this has to be someone, though, you've got to be really careful with who you pick. And this is the key, because if you pick someone who is very just too flexible, and you ring them and go, yeah, it's cold, and they go, yeah, let's not do it. That's not helpful to you. You don't want someone who's going to just enable your lack of motivation. You actually want someone who's a bit tough. And sometimes that means paying people, and that's why people go to personal trainers, because they're not going to let them off the hook. So, and I'm just using exercise as an example, but there are millions of things that you can do to get with some external accountability until you have your own internal resilience and patterns formed. So that's what I'd love you to think about today. Is there a behavior that you want to do that for some reason your brain is letting you off the hook doing? Can you get someone else to help you do that behavior? That's it. Simples. All right, lovelies. I am going to go and brave the freaking cold weather and head off to my appointment. And I'll see you tonight on the cooking show. The other thing I'd love you to do today, we have obviously got a new podcast episode released, but I also want to see if you guys have listened to last week's podcast, the Fat Ginger Nerd. That's what that's the title of his book. And it's a beautiful, beautiful podcast. One of my favorite interviews, and a little bit emotional. So today, if you're in cold Melbourne or cold eastern part of Australia, go listen to the podcast. If you're not, listen to it anyway. It's good for you. All right, darlings, have a wonderful day. Bye for now.